All right, you're welcome. Olalekun is my name, and I want to welcome you to this course. Uh, this course actually is called Genetic Disease Classification using Morphometrics and Machine Learning. It is focused on the application of morphometric and machine learning to dementia classification using anatomical facial points. It can be applied to many areas of subjects or fields, but we just want to focus it on the genetic disease for now, and also on facial points. Could be other part of the human organs or animal organs, and or maybe species of plants and so on. But we just want to first begin by introducing the this is a research-based course for mostly researchers and students. So let's just dive into it by giving us the introduction to this course, looking at morphometrics and machine learning in brief. All right. Now, when it's heard the word morphometrics, it comes from two Greek words. It's called morphe, which means shape or form, and metria, which means measurement. Right. So combining it together, you have morphometrics or measurement of shape or form. So any form, anything that has shape or form could be measured. Whether human beings, animals, plants, whatever that has shape or form could be measured. So it is used for turning shape into numbers and then testing the numbers. That is what it's all about, morphometrics. So the metrics aspect of it is numbering. Okay, so turning the shape into numbers and testing the numbers. So it is used for evaluating biological shape variation and the covariation of shape with other variables. Okay, so which means you can combine different kind of shape together from different sources and look at how they are covariate. Then you can also measure them. It is any quantitative measurement and analysis of morphological traits as well is also referred to as morphometrics. Okay, any quantitative measurement and the analysis of morphological traits. So many morphological traits may be in human face or human other human organs could be quantitatively measured. All right, so we have what is called types of morphometrics. It could be traditional morphometrics, and it could also be landmark based. Okay, so the traditional involves summarizing morphology in terms of length measurements, ratios, and angles that can be investigated individually. We call that univariate analysis, or several at a time, which is called bivariate or multivariate analysis. So when you are combining different measurements together, so and then you are trying to investigate them individually, that is what they call univariate individually. But when you now bring them together, then you are now having what they call bivariate or multi. Bivariate means only two, then multivariate means many. All right, so we have geometric morphometrics apart from traditional morphometrics, and which is a quantitative representation analysis of morphological trait shape using geometric coordinates instead of measurements such as outline based or landmark based. You know, sometimes it could be outline based. For geometric morphometry could be outline based, and it could be landmark based. For the outline based, that one actually involved summarizing the shape of open or closed curves, some the perimeter and so on, typically without any fixed landmarks. Right, that is a outline based, no fixed landmarks. Then, but for landmark based, that involves summarizing shape in terms of landmark configuration. Sometimes a constellation of discrete anatomical loci each may describe by 2D or 3D Cartesian coordinates, okay, and is most time inherently multidimensional in nature. So that is for geometric morphometrics. All right, it can be applied in many areas: statistical, shape or image analysis, and we have also in facial morphology, in face recognition, in age estimation, in sex dimorphism, in facial expression recognition, in anthropology, in cognitive science, quantitative genetics, general purpose species identification, disease diagnosis or prediction, which we are doing now. Okay, this is one of the areas we are doing now. That is what is highlighted. And we have orthotontics, and we have phylogenetics, and we have biomechanics, and we have also geomorphometrics of terrain analysis, and we also have neuroimaging and bone histomorphometrics and artificial intelligence. So these areas are area of application of morphometrics and machine learning. Then, what is machine learning? Of course, we generally understand that machine learning is a part of larger domain, which is artificial intelligence. It deals with algorithms that learn from given data and make predictions. Simply said, now we have different type of machine learning algorithms, right? But before that, we understand that there's algorithm builds model, okay, by collecting input parameters, projecting or outputting target parameters, which is output features. A learning algorithm adjusts or learns the model parameters, okay, through a number of iterations to maximize or minimize or maximize, whichever way likelihood error, right, function on y, which is a dependent variable. Now, we normally have input features, otherwise called input variables, or otherwise called independent variables. This is usually in form of x, all right, and then we also have y, which is also called class in machine learning. Call it class, call it sometimes label, sometimes target variable. Now they call it output feature or attribute, or sometimes you call it dependent variable. Maybe you are doing correlation. Most time the word dependent variable and dependent variable is mostly used in correlation. But when you are doing machine learning directly, you may use the word target or class or label. All right. So this is a common language that is used when it comes to machine learning algorithm. Now we have different type of machine learning algorithm. Okay, we have supervised learning, we have unsupervised learning, and we have reinforcement learning. Supervised learning could be broken down into classification and regression. All right, so we have sometimes can be applying fraud detection, email spam detection, diagnostic, and image classification. Regression can be applied in risk assessment, score prediction, and so on. And unsupervised learning could be dimensionality detection, like PCA, and also clustering, like a K clustering, electrical clustering, and so on. We have a test mining, we have miscalculation, big data analysis, and we have image recognition, we have biology, city planning, targeted marketing, and so on. Then likewise, reinforcement learning, all right, the gaming, finance sector, manufacturing, infantry, management, and robot navigation. These are just a breaking down of the types of machine learning we have. Then supervised learning simply means it has a supervisor or a supervising agent. That's what it means. And it is the machine learning task of learning a function that maps an input to an output based on an example input pairs. It infers a function from labeled training data consisting of a set of training examples. Now, it means that it has a label, okay? It's a label data. We have label data here, which is our input raw data. Now, we can see three labels here, three groups of label, three groups. We have cow, we have elephant, we have camel. All right, so now, when these are passed into the machine, to the model, the algorithm is created, and this algorithm now is used to process, and they give us desired output. So this can be predicted either in any number of accuracy, camel, cow, elephant. So this is called label. So this one has a label already. Okay, again, label, we have cow label, we have a elephant label, we have camel label. So this is label data. Okay, we call them a target variable or class. All right. We also have unsupervised learning, all right, which means a type of machine learning algorithm which used to draw inferences from data set consisting of input data without any label or response. So do this one input raw data, no label. So we have a chunks of different kind of data or subject from different sources combined together, but no label at all, like for previous one we had. So no supervising agent, that's what it means. No target variable, that's what it means. No class, that's what it means. So we can use machine learning to classify or to group them or to cluster them. All right, that is called unsupervised learning. It does not really necessarily bring about some kind of accuracy. No. It's not like that previous one called supervised learning, which you can have some kind of accuracies and also metrics for performance. But we do have what they call regrouping or clustering in this form. All right. So after processing, it will be able to cluster or group our output for us. Okay, because the output is unknown for now until we finish before we know how it helps us to cluster them into different forms, because there's no label to categorize them. That's what it means. No training data sets required under this. All right. So, for example, we have a random forest, one of the samples. There are so many examples. So I'm only focus on maybe those one we'll be looking at under this particular course to classify our dementia data set. So, right. So we have random forest, which is a collection of decision trees. It is a much bigger and robust version of decision tree. This ameliorates some kind of challenges we do face in decision tree, because it can be used for both classification and regression problems. The reason is we take in more information than the decision tree. The problem of overfitting in decision trees can be removed here under random forest. So it handles data better than decision tree. That's what it means. Then we also have support SVM called support vector machine. All right, it's a calculation based on the algorithm, and it could be used it could be used for classification as well. In some cases, the support vector machine uses 2 or more label classes of data and separate different classes of data into what is called hyperplane. As you can see in the plots diagram example, the support vector helps in decreasing and increasing the size of the boundaries, and they are the main component of in making the SVM. So I can see the boundaries here. Okay, we have these are support vectors. Support vectors. There's only one support vector, only one here also. Those ones that are touching the hyperplane here, of course, touching the margin here, of course, support vectors. We have negative hyperplane here, we have positive hyperplane here. So these are called support. This hyperplane here, the line in between is called maximum margin. Right, this maximum margin we have. So that is called optimum hyperplane. The margin between here and here is called maximum margin. All right, but this line in between, the space line in between here is called optimum hyperplane. But the observations, okay, that are touching the edge of each hyperplane, okay, either positive or negative, they are called support vectors. Okay, so the machine learning support vector machine helps us to find the optimal hyperplane by which the data can be evenly separated. All right, that is what it does. So we also have what they call ANN, artificial neural network. You know, it's derived from the biological neural network that develop the structure of human brain, similar to human brain that has neurons interconnected to one another. Artificial neural networks also have neurons that are interconnected to one another in various layers of the networks. So these neurons are known as nodes, right? As you can see here here we have a dendrite, we have cell nucleus, we have axon, we have a synapse. So now we do have this structure of biological neurons, and as neurons in the brain pass the signals to perform the actions, similarly artificial neurons connect a neural network to perform tasks. The connection between the artificial neurons is called weight. All right, so if you look at the structure, for example, in their architecture, you have input layer here, passing here. So we have hidden layer here, we have output layer here. So the output layer will help us to predict our result. Okay, this is called feed forward. Now we can see here our y is a called independent variable. Okay, independent variable. Now our s is independent variable. So we can see that this one is a supply inside, and these are the weights, okay, that is multiplied to process in the median layer here. So you can have multiple median layer. All right. So you can have a as well. So this is the foundation of deep learning. All right. This is foundation of deep learning, and the result can be processed very easily. So we have how we the way we classify. I mean we evaluate our performance in the machine learning. So we have what is called performance confusion matrix. It is somehow confusing. That's why it's called confusion matrix. Actually, it's confusing. So it's a matrix that is used to determine the performance of the classification model for a given set of data sets. It can only be determined if the true values for test data are known. For example, now we have a data here, right, that have been processed. For example, total number of prediction is given here. Now we have what is called actual, we have what is called predicted. So while data is running, we have actual data, we have the one that is machine is predicting for us. Okay, so we now have these parameters. These 4 parameters are very important: the true negative, false positive, false negative, and false positive, true positive are very important parameters, elements that we need to look into critically. So the first one is called true negative. It means model has given prediction no. Model says no, and the real actual value was also no. Okay, we call it true negative. It means it is no negative. Okay, for true positive, the model has predicted yes, and the actual value also is true. So which means true positive rather, which means yes. Model say yes, but the actual also is yes. And the false negative means the model has predicted no, but the actual value was yes. So it is also called as a type 2 error. So the model is saying no, but the actual value is yes. We call it false negative. And the false positive means the model has predicted yes, but the actual value actually is no. It is called a type 1 error as well. So these are the 4 things we need to understand to check our performance. So for example, if you look at this, suppose we are trying to create a model that can predict the result of disease that is either a person has that disease or not. So the confusion matrix for this is given as we have total number of 100 participants or observations. All right. So when we run the analysis, we see that the machine gives us this confusion matrix. So this one will be seen commonly when you are running machine learning. Then it means this is our true negative, false positive, false negative, true positive. All right. So that is what we just explained just now. All right. Okay, true. It means that what the machine say is what we predicted. All right, and that's what the actual value is. All right, so the same thing happened to true positive as well. Okay, now machine is saying no, and the grader is saying no. Machine is saying yes, and we are saying the machine you are saying yes as well. So now, if you look at it now, you can sum them horizontally or vertically, either column wise or row wise, so you can sum them and that to calculate. So calculating your accuracy is very easy here. So just this plus this, okay, this diagonal here divided by this plus this plus this plus this plus this. So you sum together everything. That's what it means. So we are having the diagonal true, okay, true, all over the sum of everything. That is your what we call accuracy. Okay, that is very simple, right? So the table is given for the two class classifier, yes or no, can be true or false. So which has 2 predictions, yes and no. Here, yes defines that the pattern patient has the disease, and no defines that patient has no disease. So the classifier has made a total of 100 predictions. Out of 100 prediction, 89 are true predictions. 89. If 89 are true, how do I get 89 true now? You have to do a summation together, all right, to know that which one are true. What I mean that this 24 plus 65, okay, this diagonal is true, let's go true, and we also have 11 incorrect prediction, 11, right? Which is what 8 plus 3 false, incorrect. All right. So the model has given prediction yes for 32 times, yes, and no for 68 times. All right. Whereas the actual yes was 27 and the actual no 73. So when you subtract this from here and this from here, you can see the misclassification now, error. We call it misclassification error. All right. That is how we calculate. So we have practical integration of metric in machine learning. For example, in taxonomy and systematic, we have machine learning can assist in the classification and identification of species based on morphometric data, aiding taxonomists in the systematic categorization of biodiversity. We have in paleontology, which is analyzing fossil shapes using machine learning, can help paleontologists understand evolutionary changes and relationships between extinct species. Also in medical and health sciences, in medical and diagnostics, morphometrics analysis of anatomical structures, e.g. bones, organs, and so on, using machine learning can improve the accuracy of disease diagnosis and treatment planning, like the one we are doing now. And like the question I'm reading, morphometric data from plants and animals can be analyzed to improve breeding programs by selecting individuals with desirable traits. So all these ones are practical integration of morphometrics and machine learning. So thank you so much for listening. I will see you all in the next class. Thank you.